The early morning sun barely warming the dusty streets of Jerusalem. A crowd gathers, murmuring, angry, curious. And there she is, a woman dragged forward, her face downcast, her shame exposed for all to see. Her hair disheveled, her robe torn at the edges. She is the focus of the crowd's fury, yet she can barely stand on her trembling legs. Fear mixes with humiliation. Every eye in the crowd seems to pierce her very soul. She is a public spectacle, a living warning, a woman caught in sin. And yet, even in her deepest humiliation, there is a spark. The faint, fragile hope that somehow, mercy might find her. The religious leaders, the Pharisees, step forward, their robes rustling, eyes cold with accusation. They bring her before Jesus, a man who has been speaking of mercy, of forgiveness, of the kingdom of God, and now, in their twisted sense of justice, they want to test him. They say to Jesus, "Teacher, this woman was caught in the act of adultery. In the law, Moses commanded us to stone such women. What do you say?" The air is tense. The crowd leans closer. The whispers grow. It's not just about her. This is a trap. If Jesus says, "Let her go," they will accuse him of breaking the law. If he says, "Stone her," he will reveal himself as merciless, as cruel. The weight of expectation, of judgment, hangs like a heavy curtain over the scene. And the woman, she is frozen. Every heartbeat feels like a drum of doom. Every stone in the hands of the men around her feels like it could end her life in an instant. But Jesus does something extraordinary. He does not answer immediately. He bends down, drawing in the dust beneath his feet, and begins to write. What does he write? We do not know. Scholars have debated for centuries. Perhaps he wrote their sins. Perhaps he wrote the truth of human hypocrisy. Perhaps he simply traced letters of love in the dirt, reminding the world that grace always precedes judgment. The crowd waits, tense, holding its collective breath. And then he speaks. The words are simple, yet they carry the weight of eternity. Let any one of you who is without sin be the first to throw a stone at her. Silence. A heavy, suffocating silence. One by one, the accusers, starting with the oldest, perhaps the wisest, perhaps the most aware of their own failings, drop their stones. Slowly, almost reluctantly, they begin to walk away. Leaving the woman standing alone, the stones clattering softly on the ground, the crowd parts, and for the first time she sees not judgment but mercy, not condemnation but an open door. Jesus looks up, his eyes meet hers, and in that gaze she finds what she had thought impossible: hope, compassion, redemption. He says gently, yet with authority, "Woman, where are they? Has no one condemned you?" "No one, sir," she whispers, her voice trembling, barely above the sound of the wind in the courtyard. "Then neither do I condemn you," Jesus replies. "Go now and leave your life of sin." The words hit her like sunlight after a storm. She is free, free from the crowd's scorn, free from the crushing weight of her own guilt, free from the fear that she will never find mercy again. And yet, these words are not a license to forget, not an excuse to return to what caused her pain. They are an invitation to new life, to transformation, to walking in the light of grace. This woman, nameless in the scriptures, becomes one of the most profound examples of God's mercy. Her story is short, just a few verses, yet it resonates across millennia. In a culture where women were vulnerable, where an accusation could lead to death, she stands as a symbol of God's radical, unmerited love. She represents every person who has ever felt judged, shamed, or unworthy. She represents the power of a single encounter with Jesus to change the course of a life. It is important to remember the context. In those times, the law was strict, and purity laws dictated that women could become ritually unclean through menstruation or sexual activity outside of marriage. To be caught in adultery was to be publicly shamed, stripped of status, and in many cases, executed. Yet even amidst these societal pressures, the heart of the story beats clearly. Human justice is limited, but divine mercy is boundless. Imagine her walking away. The stones are behind her now, a tangible reminder of what could have been, a tangible reminder of grace. Each step forward is heavy with new consciousness. Her life will never be the same. People will talk. gossip will linger. But the encounter has shifted everything inside her. The shame no longer defines her. The sin no longer has the final word. She has met the one who sees past the surface, past the accusations, past the failures, into the heart of what truly matters. For women watching today, her story is especially powerful. How often do we carry guilt from past mistakes, shame from choices we regret, or fear from the judgment of others? How often do we feel exposed, vulnerable, or unworthy of love and respect? This woman's story reminds us that our past does not define us, that even in moments of deepest despair, God's mercy is sufficient, that one encounter with His grace can change everything. Think about the courage it must have taken for her to face the crowd, to face Jesus. She had every reason to shrink, to hide, to accept the punishment society had prepared for her. Yet here she is, standing. It's vulnerable, yes, but also on the brink of transformation. Sometimes courage is not loud. Sometimes courage is simply showing up, facing the truth, and opening yourself to the possibility of mercy. And Jesus' words carry a lesson for all of us. Let any one of you who is without sin be the first to throw a stone. This is not just a command to withhold judgment. It is a mirror. It asks each of us to examine our own hearts. How often do we point fingers at others, forgetting our own flaws? How often do we judge, criticize, or condemn, forgetting that grace is meant for everyone, including ourselves? The challenge is not just for the crowd in Jerusalem. It is for every one of us today. Her story is also a reminder that names are not always necessary to make a statement. She is nameless in the Bible, yet her life speaks volumes. Sometimes the most profound lessons come from the seemingly small or overlooked. Her anonymity allows us to see ourselves in her place, to step into her shoes, to feel her fear and her relief, and to internalize the power of mercy for our own lives. When we leave this story, there is a call to action. We are invited to live differently, to respond to grace with transformation, not just relief, to forgive others as we have been forgiven, to extend compassion in the face of judgment, to recognize that God's ways are higher than ours, that His mercy often comes in unexpected moments, and that even the darkest situations can be the stage for redemption. Imagine the ripple effects of her encounter. Perhaps she told her story to others quietly, changed her actions, influenced those around her without a single stone thrown in her direction. Perhaps she became a living testimony of what it means to meet Jesus and be set free. Every act of mercy we experience or extend has the power to transform lives, often in ways we cannot predict or fully understand. In the end, the story of the woman caught in adultery is a story of hope, of redemption, of grace that knows no boundaries. It reminds us that no matter our mistakes, no matter the weight of society's judgment, no matter how hopeless a situation may seem, God's love is bigger. His mercy is real. His power to restore and renew is unmatched. So when you feel judged, shamed, or trapped by your past, remember this nameless woman. Remember the stones that fell harmlessly to the ground. Remember the one who bent down, wrote in the dust, and spoke words that changed everything. Remember that even when the world is ready to condemn, God's grace is ready to save. And remember this most important truth. No one is beyond the reach of mercy, and no life is too far gone to be transformed. Thank you for watching.